Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Hey, LinkedIn. I am joined today by Clement from Celestial, who is here to talk to me a little bit about data inside of HubSpot and really the importance of having clean data specifically. And we accidentally booked this. I wish I could say that we planned this, but we did not. We did accidentally book this on the same day as the HubSpot Insights tool being sunset. Happy accident. But how are you
Yeah,
doing today, Clement?
really good. It's dark outside, I guess. Inside's being sunset. But other than that, good. I'm anyway, out of this world with my, still my colleague, Alien being with me. So
Yeah.
uh,
When Chris found out that you were joining me today, he introduced you. He was like, "If you were at Inbound last year, you know Clement as the alien."
I was the guy who was paid one ticket but had two guys in the room.
Very cool. Well, I'm super happy to have you here today on the day of the HubSpot Insights sunset. If you are watching us and you don't know what we're talking about, HubSpot has forever had this feature called HubSpot Insights. You may have not even noticed like or you may have not even known that like it was a special feature. But when you added a new company to HubSpot, specifically when you added their website or domain, HubSpot would populate a bunch of properties for you. Company name, logo, those two are actually going to stay, but also things like revenue, number of employees, industry was a big
Industry.
one. Yeah. And that will, starting today, no longer happen. Yes, a sad.
It feels like a second New Year, kind of.
Yes, it is a sad day for sure. But I mentioned on the morning show today, I'm not as nervous as I was when this first got announced. And that is because the data coming from HubSpot Insights was not always great. Um, and that would cause a lot of issues. I mean, I know Celestial started as like a sales outreach personalization tool. Am I oversimplifying that?
Uh, a year ago, we were building an app for sales reps directly on top of HubSpot to help with
Mhm,
one-on-one communication, where we were
mhm,
basically pulling information from HubSpot activity timeline properties to help with, on the other side, enriching data from LinkedIn to write good data,
mhm,
good follow-ups. Now focus more on building that for workflows and sequences. So instead
mhm,
of having templated emails, you can have really nicely individualized emails for every recipient. We have really interesting data to prove that there's a value around that. It's
mhm.
not just a nice to have. But more importantly, through onboarding users, we face just a lot of issues around personalization because of that data,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So, what were some of the problems that people were facing with the bad data?
So one of the things we try to do with the system is, on one side, take the value proposition being written for different personas to be automatically that included in the emails, which is hard if you have no idea who is who. If
Mhm,
John Smith and whomever is in your CRM from the same company, they don't have the job title, so it's hard to match that.
mhm,
Another one is, if you want to tailor the messaging based on size of the company, you might obviously want to talk to the CEO at a company with 50 employees differently than to a CEO of Coca-Cola. Probably
mhm.
CEO of Coca-Cola is not in your CRM, but case in point. So
If you have.
I mean, enjoy chatting. Um, but no, really, if you don't have the good data, or if you have wrong data, you'll do wrong personalization, or even wrong lead scoring. I was just looking through one of the portals, and I think it was for Walmart. The industry was design, which it doesn't make sense. So if you want to do industry focused specific case study, reach out, or whatever the case is for you to use the right industry, you'll be doing wrong outreach, or you might miss the right companies.
Yeah. I know I've seen that a lot. I've seen industry be like a huge problem in my own little bubble. Kyle Jepson just this morning was talking on the Monday morning updates that especially internationally, I guess HubSpot Insights, they were getting a lot of negative feedback from HubSpot Insights internationally, but I know even domestically, I had a lot of clients that turned it off or created their own separate industry field just so that they could store someplace for like a more reliable industry. One of my clients is at tech, and they had a particularly really difficult time with the industry field for whatever reason. It just wasn't really working.
I mean, I always question, okay, so what is the source you trust?
Mm-hmm.
What is the best alternative to that? So there are other databases you can check manually
Mm-hmm.
on LinkedIn. From my perspective, being in B2B world, I would say LinkedIn is, let's say, a reliable source.
Yeah.
At least it's publicly available, so you can say, okay, if across the industry the mistake is there, the same percent will always have a mistake in number of employees or in different industries. So let's say this is the most reliable source. Of course, it's different if you have companies not being on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess it's website
Yeah.
of their own, the most reliable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you kind of have to understand what is I think the source, the reliable source, and then how you want to structure it in a meaningful way. So how granularly you want to have it, and then at what point you want to say, okay, if something was manually edited, don't override with the system. I've seen too many times, users noticed something was wrong from HubSpot Insights or from other systems. They changed that manually because they learned something,
Mm-hmm.
and then the system wrote that, which is not good, because then you kind of know, okay, something is wrong in data, but I don't know which percent or which companies or which contexts are wrong, and then makes it hard to trust, do any lead sourcing, lead scoring, lead routing, personalization, prioritization. Everything is kind of okay. Yeah, I know 20% is off, but which 20%?
Yeah, and that's actually, so one of my clients created a separate industry field just because of that, because they would fix some, but they didn't know which ones they fixed and which ones they didn't, and which ones got overwritten again, things like that. So it just became basically a mess, and they just were like, forget it. They have this field in their system, industry 2, which I don't know. Any HubSpot admins here know how frustrating it is to see a default property in like a V2 or something like that. But it's an unfortunate kind of workaround. And I know you had originally reached out to me specifically around lead scoring and the importance of reliable data in lead scoring, because all of the work I've been doing to build scores for clients, if the data is not accurate, then it's not helpful. And I know one of the things like I've actually really avoided using in lead scoring is things like number of employees and industry, even because it's just never been a reliable source. And even though I might know that like, hey, our target market has this many employees, I avoid using it because HubSpot Insights just hasn't been reliable enough. Give me that.
Yeah. we had always an ongoing discussion with basically every user. Even so, one is, let's say, default number of employees, and then you have all the conglomerates of companies and the subsidiaries where some companies want to track the local subsidiaries in one way, whereas some others want to have for bigger companies it's always tricky. Let's say Deloitte, that one I know because we've been just recently discussing that. You have one big company and you have only one LinkedIn profile for that company. So let's say you can trust the number of employees being associated there. But then you have, I don't know, PwC or Coca-Cola, where they have, local, even branches have different LinkedIn profiles. So how do you then measure that? Everything is on the same domain. So what is the source? Do you count all together? Do you want to have those separate? Because maybe your business model covers, having separate agreements with separate locations. And then, if you have the default property for a number of employees, even if you take LinkedIn as a source, it will just override with whatever is associated with that company, which might not be correct. And then I've seen in new users where data for that domain on LinkedIn is 50 employees, they change it to 1,000. And then you ask, so what is the source of that? Oh, we had a call and they told us, there's an umbrella company and we're signing up agreement with that umbrella company, but the deal is associated with that small company, which is on LinkedIn, 50 employees, and then it becomes mess if you don't standardize that.
Yeah, it can really become a big mess. And yeah, so where you're getting your data from is going to be really important. And you have options. Even with HubSpot Insights going away, when I look at lead scoring, I tend to prioritize like form submission data above a lot of other things, because that's information that the person is telling me. Obviously, people can lie on forms. I understand that. But in theory, that's reliable data. But at the end of the day, you don't want to have to ask people a million questions. I know whenever I talk about this, I say the same thing. I'm always like, there's all these metrics about every additional field you add to a form reduces your conversion rate. But I never remember what the actual number is. So I'm always telling people to Google it.
Yeah.
I should just write it somewhere.
Yeah. I've seen it, and we took that approach of, let's say, agentic research. Now it's with all the agents available, Googling is now something you can easily do and search for your own data. And another approach we now took with our system is, before we write something into a property, we would take the property history, and if a user, not a system, recently changed the number or whatever value, location, job title of a person, we'll just leave it, because if someone manually went there and changed their property, it was for a good reason. Maybe they learned that on a conference, through a forum, or through a conference call, or on a phone. So you should trust that data. Where if system change it, you can question if it's correct or not. But if a real person's changed that property, there was a reason for that. Otherwise, no one would go there and just change something.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Hopefully your BDRs and your AEs aren't just
tweaking the data to show the report you need to show.
Exactly. And I know a big piece of a lot of my lead scoring, if anyone's been watching any of my sessions, I usually have a score for what I call lead completeness. And that is, it's supposed to say, like, how much data do we have on this person? Do we have the 5 or 10 most important fields filled out? And what I usually do with that information is I make lists of the people who we don't have that filled out for, but have taken significant action. So maybe they've downloaded 3 or 4 pieces of content, but we don't have the industry, and that's making it really hard for us to route them, or we don't have their state or something like that. There's just a little piece missing that is preventing us from sending it to sales because we wouldn't be able to route it. And what I usually do is I try to maybe send them another email, use progressive form fields to fill that out. But what is even better is when we can find the information
Yeah.
for them. Um, and then we don't have to ask the person, we just can find it. And sometimes, you're able to very quickly find this. And people have BDR teams, but obviously, like, it's a heavy lift to fill out all that information. And even asking them for another form fill is just another step for them.
Yeah. I would say this is a really huge opportunity of leveraging AI for
Mhm,
for just for just that. Uh, you know, for data enrichment in general, I think the first question is what, as you said, now what data is crucial for us. It's probably not 20 properties. It's probably not 50 properties. Even if you can get it from a system,
mhm,
you probably need 5 properties.
mhm,
And then for those 5 properties, if you can, if you have an intern that can figure it out and can find that, I'm 95% sure agent can do it at the
mhm,
same level. So use AI for that. So to leverage the power you have. So instead of asking and yeah, every form with more than necessary information is just asking people to not fill it out.
mhm.
So if you can fill it out for them, and instead of asking them, leverage the tag that is now available. I was the first time we implemented the agent, developed our own agent for contact level discovery and enrichment. I was really surprised. I mean, I can't do better, and I would say I'm a skilled person in searching that. Being building a lead gen agency for 5 years, I've seen a lot and did a lot of that research. So I would say I'm a pro level of searching for some data, and I can do better than what AI agent is now doing.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much data out there, and like I think about the data that is really helpful to figure out who I should route someone to in or whether or not they're a good lead or not. Um, and oftentimes those are things like job titles, those are things like location, um, revenue and stuff like that. It really depends. I mean, a lot of B2B businesses that act well, I'm kind of talking myself into it. Like, when I look at number of employees and revenue, I think I've trained myself out of it because I haven't trusted it for so long. But in reality, like, those tend to be really good indicators of whether or not your software is gonna be a good fit. You probably know whether your software is a small business software, an enterprise software, and who your market is. So I think I've just trained myself to not use them because it's been reliable, but
Yeah,
with
I
more
mean,
reliable data, it can be.
for revenue, not public companies, I always doubt about the right information, because no one is yeah. Okay, now with building public companies, some are talking about the ARR and revenue in general, but not many companies have that publicly available, which means it's just maybe an informed guess. Where for a number of employees, it can be kind of reliable. Companies have under their about page on their website, maybe write how many employees they have worldwide.
Mhm,
um, or if nothing else, we've been always relying on not the size that you can pick, the range 200 to 50,
mhm,
500, but more the number of people being associated with a company on LinkedIn, with the assumption this is kind of the the number, let's say, of people not being on LinkedIn is roughly the same across industry. I know 20, 30, whatever percent, which
mhm,
means comparable data. If someone has 800 employees and the other company has 5,000 employees, the difference, the range is okay, even
mhm,
if both are 20% off. And this is now publicly available data.
mhm. Well, that's a good indicator to if you have, like, that information filled out for the bulk of your, companies in HubSpot, you can then look at your customers and say, "Okay, majority of our customers are in this range of the number of employees. And if that's all enriched with LinkedIn data, then it's apples to apples. Like you're comparing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter at that point.
It needs to be somewhat normalized with keeping in mind, that the error is always there.
Yeah.
But if it's the same error, then it's fine. If you don't need the absolute number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Clem, do you want to tell me a little bit about the new app that you put together and kind of, your intention behind it? And I'm excited about it, and I can show it off in a minute, but I'll let you do the intro.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. So the whole idea started from us helping sales reps directly, where then one of the users asked us, "Hey, we don't have that much of a volume on one-on-one communication, but we have 1,500 attendees of a webinar where we want to do a better job of following up post webinar." Their default approach was a sequence with templated emails. Hey, first name, and then CFO and then BI analyst received the exact same message, the same highlights from the webinar, hoping for a good conversion. And then we took that list of people, designed a system to take every individual from your HubSpot with all the activity properties, deal properties, contact properties, to combine it with LinkedIn information about that company, contact your marketing materials, and infuse all that to write individualized emails for every recipient. And with that system, we increased the response rate from a sequence for 3x almost. The lead to deal conversion was from 1% with the template messages to 2.5% with personalized emails. So that kind of encouraged us, okay, there is something worth exploring, how the system can look, how to bring that into HubSpot, so you have all the reporting and everything. So we're now doubling down on just building a system for HubSpot users to help with personalization of messages within workflows and sequences. And data enrichment is part of what we need to help solve if we want to then further do a good job of personalization. That's why on LinkedIn I always try to talk. It's data enrichment is just one step towards the real goal you have. So it's no one is willing to waste time enriching for the sake of enrichment. But if you know why and what you'll do with the data, then it makes total sense.
Yeah, and I mean, you reached out to me specifically for lead scoring, and it is really, having clean data is so important for lead scoring, because for my ed tech company, the company that I work with in ed tech, if I give something a score because HubSpot Insights is saying that they're in EDU, but really they're another ed tech company or something like that, then suddenly I'm passing competitors to the sales team. And that's messy. And what can get even worse is, especially as we enable more automation and AI, there's that new prospecting agent that's in beta for HubSpot. Like there's a world where if you don't have clean data, suddenly you have a prospecting agent reaching out to a competitor and then even giving them information that you may not want to give to a competitor.
This is one potentially a bad case.
And that might be, that's probably a little bit more on the extreme end, but on the less extreme end, then you're just sending emails out and you're wasting time. You're wasting time. Time is less important in an AI world, but if you're buying credits and things, you might be
resources, and I would say even more importantly, trust from customers. Anyone who signed up for your trial or download some PDF kind of gave you the permission to communicate with them because they showed the interest. And every email that is generic, not focused to what they care about, is just another trigger for them to maybe click on subscribe, and then they're gone from your CRM. So I've seen more and more companies thinking about, okay, we obtained 20,000 contacts in our HubSpot. we should better, do a good job with those, because we already paid for ads, we already paid for webinars, we invested obtaining those contacts into our HubSpot. So let's stop sending generic messages, try to increase the conversion through messages. We had a case for another user. They had 200 attendees of a webinar, and their goal was, okay, we want to figure out who are the top 10%, the most hottest leads that we can most probably score. And they asked us, can you help us, figure that out? So we got the ICP list. And then the first bullet point of their ICP definition was, if job title matches marketing department. We went into HubSpot, and none of those 200 contacts had job title at all. So how are you, even matching anyone in your HubSpot to your ICP to figure out who you want to dedicate, your time and resources? So that's why, data enrichment, both at company and contact level, is just, the first step to do qualification, scoring, personalization, lead routing, and then and all the other stuff.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go over and pull up your website. Maybe there we go. This is enrichment.celestial.com, and one thing I was actually really excited about when you first reached out to me was I just typed. Obviously the first thing I did was I went over here and typed my name. And there I am, which I was excited about because ZoomInfo, I do not show up as. I'm like a little speck in ZoomInfo's world. I think they still think I work at the agency that I used to work at, which I haven't worked at in 3 years now. Yeah, it's been 3 years. But I am here. So I immediately was like very impressed. And obviously that's because you're actually looking me up on LinkedIn, right?
So the first step is we tried to search for you, different searches on Google. Once we find a plausible LinkedIn match, we go to that LinkedIn profile and then validate through another agent if that is most likely that person. So we have first the discovery step and then the validation step before we give you the results. But yeah, it's taking basically the currently available data. So that's why it's up to date and it finds there. In your case, it's easier because there are probably not a lot of Casey Hawkins out there. But if even if you have a company name, but a personal email, we can find a match, because with different searches on Google, you can figure it out. And then if you validate, if you have data to be validated, we can do it on the fly. That's why also the enrichment is not instant, because we need to do searches. We just had a case where we were asked to enrich 60,000 contacts in a HubSpot. So it took us 2 days to run the agent for that many contacts. But in 2 days you get as accurate data as someone human being would get, and it's probably way more than 2 days to get a certain level of results.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah, I mean, I was able to just type my first and last name in, which was very impressive for me. But yeah, I guess if my name was John Smith or something, then
yeah, then it's more tricky. But and one interesting thing we noticed is everyone who is first here on the website, you always enter your name, which is funny.
That's the first thing you're always looking for.
Yeah. You always, okay, what do you find about me?
Yeah. I also like that so the enrichments, it's LinkedIn profile for contacts. It's LinkedIn profile, first name, last name, title, country, company, industry. We talked a lot about industry, probably too much. And then company, LinkedIn profile, domain, country, number of employees, which we talked about a little bit, industry, and year of founding, which could definitely come up depending on what your sales process is. But specifically, I love that you have the LinkedIn profile URL here, because part of sales outreach, a lot of times there is a component that is LinkedIn LinkedIn adjacent, and I'm constantly encouraging BDRs, BDEs, AEs to reach out to people on LinkedIn. And so this kind of minimizes that friction potentially.
Yeah, you get that profile directly to the contact property. And if people are on LinkedIn, then it makes it much easier to keep the database up to date. You can just regularly check on LinkedIn. If they're still there, you can get people who are promoted, so you can reach out to them. This might be a good excuse. Or if they're changing jobs, you can get that information before the email bounces. So there are a lot of implications how you can use that information. And I've also seen a lot of salespeople just manually searching for those people on LinkedIn, and then copy pasting the job title and then the LinkedIn URL, or every time you try to search for that person on LinkedIn, which just yes, it can be done, but it takes time and dedication.
Yeah. So if you are worried about your data in HubSpot, especially with HubSpot Insights going away, definitely check out Celestial. Search yourself immediately, like everyone else does, including me. But you also have some bulk enrollment trials, so you can connect to HubSpot and it will automatically enrich the latest 50 contacts, or you can
and we'll only sync those latest 50. So we'll not sync the full CRM for the sake of privacy. Before you want to enrich the full database, we'll just not sync it for you, but rather just those latest 50 contacts. And with that trial, of course, there is no configuration to which properties things should write when we push them back, but when we put it in production, there are things to configure to which properties we write the data, as well as do we overwrite, do we validate, do we check for who recently updated the property, as well as different ways how you can control credit spent. We can go through the whole HubSpot, we can go only to new contacts, or we can have a company and contact list that our system monitors, so anyone that is going there will be enriched, which means through workflows, through form submissions, you can control who gets enriched, because we all know not everyone is worth enriching.
Yeah. You, not your competitors, not your internal employees,
and then all the kind of wrong contacts, which seems to be on a company domain, but then you look up for that domain and it's blank, or it's disposable domain, and you don't want to spend too much credits there. You just want to validate first who is who.
Very cool. All right. Anything I missed? Anything else you wanted to add?
I think this was a good summary. Thanks, Casey.
You're welcome. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Feel free to add any comments, any questions to the comments. And our DMs are always open, I usually like to say. So feel free to shoot me or Clement a message if you have questions about data cleanliness or the enrichment options that you have now that HubSpot Insights. We are in the dark ages of HubSpot Insights.
But bring your own data. We can have fun with it.
Yeah. I think we'll all be better off. So it feels hard right now, but I think we'll be better off in the long term.
Yeah. Some will go up again.
All right. Have a good rest of your week, everyone, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Have a good week.